Hello everybody, Captain Marty here, and it is Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. Thanks for joining us. It may be the dead of winter, and we may not have a lot to talk about, but we sure got some good fishing in one area, which would be the offshore fishing, just world-class bluefin tuna fishing. That will be the biggest part of our report today, but it's not, no, there's still other stuff to talk about, so stay right where you're at, and I'll be right back to fill you in.
Hi, I'm Captain Jay Cudworth of the Kokomo with Paradise Dolphin Cruises at Safe Harbor Marina in Wanchese. I want to invite you to take a ride out on the Roanoke Sound to see the majestic bottlenose dolphins up close. As a native, I'll be telling you stories from these waters as a boy growing up in Wanchese. Nature and history have combined to make this area unique, and I love sharing this special place with special people. So come on aboard with me and my crew and experience the real beauty of the Outer Banks. For more information, go online to ParadiseDolphinCruises.com. Again, this is Captain Jay. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Locally owned and operated since 1971, Billy's Seafood has been providing the locals and visitors of the Outer Banks with some of the freshest seafood you'll find. Not too far off the beaten path down Collington Road in KDH, Billy's Seafood has become a landmark for those seeking top-notch seafood at affordable prices. Billy's Seafood also has beer, wine, grandma's tuna salad, and other groceries as well. To see more, go online to billyseafoodobx.com. Billy's Seafood, putting fresh seafood on your table for over 50 years.
So we're still talking about tunas, and we will be the way it's looking for a while. The bluefin tuna bite has been exceptional, and the size range has been all over the place. The locations have been all over the place. Normally we break up the Hatteras and Oregon Inlet offshore reports. Today we're going to include Muzzletoe Ocracoke in there, Hatteras, Oregon Inlet, and Rudy Inlet. Rudy Inlet's the next inlet north of the state line up there at Virginia Beach. Man, the bluefins have been there. We'll start with the big one. My old buddy, my old dock partner one time, long time ago, in the late 70s when I was a mate at the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center, the mate on the Foxy Lady, which was the boat right next to me, was David Wright. David was from Virginia Beach. Anyway, his dad was a well-known fisherman up that way, and he went into the fishing business up there in his hometown, has been fishing on the High Hopes for many years, and he caught a state record bluefin tuna in the last couple days, 850 pounds. That's a whopper. And I heard there was I could not confirm the 750 pounder that I mentioned yesterday, but anyway, there's at least one sea monster that was caught up there. Bluefins will get up and over 1,000 pounds. We haven't seen one not put on the dock that big. That's more something they would catch up off Newfoundland, Cape Cod. They do it in the dead of summer. They do that a little bit different, but what we do have is the numbers. And we have a lot of the 150 to 200 pound bluefin tunas. We have tuna from right close to the beach, and yesterday they were catching them right up underneath the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, believe it or not, on both sides of Diamond Shoals. And then they've been catching them out in the old traditional Gulf Stream locations where we normally catch yellowfin, blackfin, and big-eye tuna. They've been catching them up off Kitty Hawk, very close to the beach at times. They've been catching them up at Rudy Inlet. I mean, wherever there's something to eat is where bluefin tuna will go, and cold water does not slow them down. That's how they're different from the other tunas. They're different in taste, too. And don't get me wrong, I'd like to have a bluefin tuna steak for dinner tonight if I could get one. But to me, they are mostly exported for a sushi market, a raw fish market. But most everybody will tell you that they're the least good eating. They're all good eating, but they're the least favorable of those four major species. People will argue with you about that all day long. But if I had my druthers, I personally would take a yellowfin first, a blackfin second, a big eye third, and then a bluefin. But anyway, that's what's going on offshore. It's really, really good fishing. There's plenty of availability. If you want to go out and do some of that on one of our charter boats, just make sure you're doing it on a legitimate charter boat working through a legitimate marina. There's a lot of licensing and permitting that needs to be in order to go do that. And so make sure who you're dealing with. Ask around a little bit, and it'll make sure you get on the right boat. Surf fishing, just pretty much non-existent. It breezed up. And that's another thing. When it's really breezy out of the northwest, these guys can still go catch the bluefin tunas. is. They just fish up under the beach. But on the surf, just a very few sea mullet down on Hatteras Island. And I got a question the other day from someone that's been listening, and they said, and when I mentioned how good sea mullets were to eat, and they said, you can eat a mullet? And I said, wait a minute, you might be getting confused. A sea mullet that we call a sea mullet is also known as a whiting or a southern kingfish. A southern kingfish, I believe, is its actual biological name, but they're not a jumping mullet. Now, I've eaten jumping mullet all my life. Some people turn their nose up at them, but I love them, especially in a smoker. But sea mullet are a whiting. And they're still catching a few of those. But other than that, and a very, very rare puppy drum, it's just skate and little sharks and things like that. Just really, really slow. Pier fishing the same way. The only pier I'm even aware of that's still open is Jeanette's. I could be wrong about that, but not much there. A skate, a shark, and a desperate fisherman that really just wants to get out on the pier. Can't blame him. I really respect that. So we'll take a little break. I'll come back and I'll talk to you about a little bit of what's going on in the backcountry.
At Fishing Unlimited on the Nags Head Manio Causeway, not only can you get stocked up with all the bait, tackle, and amenities necessary to fish, but you can also be your own captain. That's right. At Fishing Unlimited, you can rent one of their spacious pontoon boats to go fishing, crabbing, dolphin watching, or just to cruise the Roanoke Sound. It's family fun at its finest. Half-day and full-day rentals are available. Be your own captain at Fishing Unlimited on the Nags Head Manio Causeway.
There are three things going on in the backcountry. One of them I haven't mentioned in a while, but there's still a speckled trout to be caught, and there are some fatties too. But I started doing this skill level thing from 1 to 10 is my scale, 10 being the most difficult and the highest degree of skill level you'll need. So this speckled trout bite that's going on now in the inshore waters, your skill level is going to be about a 9. And what I mean by that, if you're not a professional guide, you're going to struggle a little bit. So you got to really know so much about the water temperature, the currents, the salinity. There's a lot of stuff that they do to figure out where these fish are holed up. So again, like always, a guide might be the way to go. And you shorten your learning curve, have a lot of fun. There's a lot of rockfish in the Sound. That season remains closed, so if you want to go out and do some beautiful catch and release fishing, I just wish they'd open it back up. God, they're pretty, and I do love to eat a rockfish. But the part I hadn't been mentioning is that there's a good largemouth bass bite in some of these ditches and canals along Highway 64 and some of the other locations up on the north end of the beach. I can't even believe it. It's a fairly covert fishery, and it should be because it's very territorial, but what I'm telling you is just because it's January, don't think you can't get a bite on a big mouth bass. Some of that fishing looked really good, and the size of them kind of blew my mind a little bit. I'm going to just tell you, you're going to have to do your own homework, ask your own questions, and my only clue I can give you is you might want to check on the north end of the beach with some of the tackle shops up that way, ask a few questions. And the only other thing I have for you is I did have a really nice talk with Captain Mike Merritt. He's on his brand new Spencer boat down in Capos, Costa Rica, and I talked to him yesterday morning for a while. I just had a great talk. Mike did something that's very, very rare a couple weeks ago. In one day, his boat caught a black marlin, a blue marlin, a striped marlin, and a sailfish. Quadruple grand slam. That's a really great catch. Remember, black marlin and striped marlin are only in the Pacific Ocean. Blue marlins are in both, although they may be a little bit different biologically. And the sailfish they have over there are a different species. They are huge, big, 80, 90, 100-pound sailfish. But anyway, good going to Captain Mike. Mania resident, ran for many, many years to Bill Fisher out of Oregon Inlet. Mike is still going strong. He was sitting there waiting for his clients yesterday morning, drinking a glass of orange juice, looking at the beautiful Pacific Ocean. And, just great that he's still rolling along like that. So that pretty much takes us in on the fishing report for today. We'll keep you posted as the bluefin tuna season will go on. The quota was either met or is near being met on the giants, but that's above my pay grade to figure all that out. I'll let you know when I hear something official, and I hope you have a great day, and may the good Lord bless you.